One of the top scariest things in this world is seeing something where it's not supposed to be. That's always unnerving, right? Where you expect something to be a certain way and then it's just not that. Like if you turn a corner and there's just a person there, it's a little frightening. Even if you know the person, you're like, oh my God, don't do that to me, right? You could be in your own house. You could turn a corner, be on your phone, and be like, oh my God. And they'd be like, really? Does it look that bad? You're like, what are you oh my God, you got a haircut. And they're like, oh my God, is that where your eye went to? They're like, yeah, well, there's not much to go to anymore because it looks like they chopped it all off. They're like, really? Did they? I haven't gotten to a mirror yet. They didn't have mirrors there? No. I'm like, well, yeah, that's probably why it ended up like that. Guy didn't even know what he was looking at. Another scary thing is hearing a loud noise at night. Have you ever heard this? Oh my God, it's the worst thing ever. Imagine just being alone and in the front door of your house, the front door of your apartment, there's just a knock. I've had that happen to me one time before. I hated it. I was like, why? There shouldn't be someone there. And yet there was. Another scary feeling is you ever use ice in a drink because you like things a little chilled, right? Oh, is that such a crime? Apparently it is because you get punished not an hour later. When your freezer, ice machine, decides to do its intended purpose and make more ice, and then that ice hits the inside of the freezer and you're like, oh my God, is there someone there? It's one of the worst things. It's one of the top most frightening things is seeing something where it's not supposed to be. Well, that happened to me this week. You see, the entire right side of my neck got all big, red, and bumpy. I don't know if it's still that way. It's a little itchy still, but I had no idea what was going on. You see, Saturday night, I was just playing video games in this exact seat. Well, not this chair. I was using a different chair, but in this exact place. And I noticed the right side of my neck was getting all itchy, and I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know what was going on. And so I gave it a little itch. I was like, looking in my phone camera, I was like, oh my God. Again, frightened. Didn't think that was supposed to be there, right? This bumpiness, this agitation, and yet it was. And then I thought about it. I'm like, well, what could this be? I'm like, is this an allergic reaction? That's the first place my brain went to. And I started making up just stupid ideas, right? You start thinking about all the things you experienced that day. I was like, oh my God, I ate a salted caramel cookie. Am I allergic to caramel? I'm like, who's allergic to caramel, Garv? Do you even know what's in caramel? I don't know. Maybe that's why it's such a rare thing no one talks about. Maybe they're embarrassed. But no, it wasn't that. I went outside for the first time. It's been sunny recently. I'm like, maybe I'm allergic to the sun. I'm a sensitive guy, you know, classic empath. Maybe my outside body is just as sensitive as my inside. Maybe the sun is getting to me. Maybe I'm going to have to be an SPF Sally growing up because maybe I can't handle it, right? The troubles of the world, the perils of the outside. And then I thought, maybe my hairstylist put something on me, right? I did get a haircut. You see that? Yeah, speaking of haircuts. By the way, beat the allegations. You know, I talked about a few months ago or whatever. He grabbed lumps of my hair and was like, it's thinning up there, isn't it? Didn't say that this time. He did make a comment about my hair, actually. He sat me down in the chair, you know, was doing his evaluation and said, wow, your hair's growing in nicely. I was like, oh, well, thank you so much. That's a nice tune. See, that's a compliment where I didn't think it'd be, but I'm actually pleasantly surprised. See, it can be the other way too. You just have to, you know, it has to be a nice thing. What a concept. But then I quickly realized, I think it's just a mosquito bite. I think the right side of my neck got all big and bumpy because that's a mosquito bite. I started thinking, oh, maybe there's a spider. No, I haven't seen a spider in a while. I think it was just a mosquito bite. Because later that night, I saw a mosquito ramming itself into the corner of my office. And I was like, oh, well, there's the culprit. There's the smoking gun. The bloody tip. Well, for a mosquito, that's a good thing. For a guy, seek help immediately. Anyone, just start screaming out. If you haven't already, if that's happening, I'm sure you're already in a lot of pain. But I was like, oh, there he is. That's the guy that bit me. And then he's, you know, flew away. I was like, all right, well, so I don't know if he's been satiated, but he might come in for a round two. So I put a, you know, a neck brace around myself. I didn't do that. I don't just have a neck brace. So I made it out of toilet paper. That's right. I went through 3 rolls. Had to make, you know, a lot of neck. They're calling it the giraffe of the West Coast. All right. Easy. It's funny, you know, they have zoos and there's giraffes in there, but like, where did those giraffes come from? Anyways, I was talking to a coworker of mine. His son goes to college in Iowa. He's like, yeah, we're going to go visit my son. And actually, the first day we're in there, we're going to go to the zoo. I was like, what are you talking about? You're going to Iowa, right? He was like, yeah, we're going to go to the zoo. I'm like, see, but you're saying... It's like I said, seeing a penguin in New York. What the fuck? What is the fucking polar bear doing in Arlington, Texas? I don't know, man. So how did a giraffe get, you know, to fucking Iowa? I don't know. Anywho, it was a mosquito bite. And I realized it's been a while since I got a mosquito bite. Maybe this is a bit of a self-report. I guess I don't go outside. I remember mosquito bites, they used to be aplenty when I was younger because I would always play outside every summer. I would spend, 3 hours, whatever, 2, 3 hours outside playing some kind of sport or like basketball or whatever. And I haven't gotten a mosquito bite in, God, I think years. And I was like, oh, I mean, great. I don't love to get bit by insects or mosquitoes, insects. I don't know. For all you mosquito experts out there, maybe you can correct me. And hey, you know what they call mosquito experts, right? Suckers. Just made that up right now. Do you ever say something like clever and then you're like, I have to tell people I just came up with that right now because they might think that's a canned joke that I just keep in the reserve, my Batman utility belt. But no, I just came up with that right now. One of the greatest compliments you can receive in a conversation is you say something a little quick-witted, a little clever, and then someone's like, did you just come up with that? And you're like, I did. That's right. And you would think, right? They would pay me more than everyone else at work, but no, they pay me just as much as everyone else. It's a crime. I know. With a brain like this on standby, you would think it would be worth more, but no. I get paid just as much as my colleagues. But no, it's been a minute since I've gotten a mosquito bite, which is even crazy because I went to Africa 2 years ago, took a bunch of medicine leading up to it so I wouldn't even get malaria. They had the mosquito nets even surrounding our bed. Didn't even get bit there. That was the whole thing, the big scare, and yet I didn't even partake. So it's just a testament to how chronically inside I am. I can't tell you on a calendar last time I got a mosquito bite. I would have to do that thing where I keep clicking through the months on a digital calendar and then my finger gets tired, but I don't lift it off the keyboard out of a fear of people being like, oh, did he just get winded from doing that? No, I have a great finger. I'm great at fingering. Let's not, okay, I know we're in public, and that's not something you're supposed to say, but I'm trying to make a case for myself, okay? I'm trying to respect my honor, defend my honor. God, now I'm messing up all my words. See, I even said messing up. Oh, goodness. Yeah, the mosquito bite's gotten to me. And you know what? It was a lot of red for the side of my neck. I'm pretty sure I might be a little allergic to mosquitoes. Because what the fuck was that? It was enough redness to where I was like, should I call someone? Like, should I not go to sleep? People, they hit their head and then people are like, don't go to sleep, don't go to sleep. You're going to die or whatever. Something bad's going to happen. It was that level of red where I was like, I don't like that I'm just dealing with this. Like, it kept getting worse over the hour. I think because I kept itching it. Okay, you got me there. Oh, are you a doctor? Yeah. Would you, in a plane, if they said, we got a doctor on board, would you get up? No? Then how about you shut the fuck up right now? That's right. Oh, now it's a big deal. No, I'm kidding. But yeah, I was outside this week. As you probably saw if you follow me on Instagram, I hung out with people this week. After being, a depressed Daniel last week, I actually got out there, went to 2 Kings games, and hung out with a friend during the weekend. It was great. Oh my goodness. It gave me a lust for life. What a concept, huh? But I realized, my friend that visited me over the weekend, he came over to my place. And my place has had just stuff around. It's not dirty, but it's messy, right? Like, it's not filth, but things are untidy. Like, I keep a clean routine around here, right? A good regiment. But then there's just stuff. You're like, why are there 6 shoe boxes in the living room? I'm like, I'm getting to it, okay? There's a reason behind everything. Can't you just think of me as like a tortured artist? Why can't I just have that place in life? Why do you have to question everything and think, oh, does he have a problem? Does he have depression? I don't like labels, okay? Oh, you like labels? So you approve of racism? Is that what you mean? Because racists label people. Oh, interesting company you're rolling around with. But no, I noticed, when my friend came over, I was like, I have to clean my place. So I put shit away that maybe took 5 minutes total. I think there's a person on social media that does this where she records how long do these things that I've been putting off for 6 months actually take. I think it's on TikTok. I feel like I remember coming across it years ago. But she shows that, this fucking desk that I've been putting off for 7 months to clean, it took me 10 minutes to clean. And so it, really, what is it? It invigorates, it lets people feel great about maybe I should just tackle that task. And so when friends come over, I get in the tackling mood. Not that I'm trying to pin them to the ground, but I put stuff away so I can put them away. Get them on the ground. No, I think I would be a bad wrestler. People tell me I'd be a good rock climber because of my limbs and their length. But in terms of wrestling, I think that plays an adverse role in my ability because I feel like there's too much of me to grab, and so people could really pin it down, right? Like, you ever see those big supervillains in movies? Like, isn't Starro? Is that the one that was in Suicide Squad? Starro. Am I getting this correct? I never understood what the big deal was. Like, I mean, he was so dangerous, but I'm like, can't you just like grab any part of him and kind of take him down? I feel like that. I feel like a big starfish, and that you could just grab any of my points and then just fuck me up. So I don't think I'd be a good wrestler. Yeah, we know, Garv, but we know it's because you're weak. I'm like, no, it's because my body looks like a shrunk Gumby. Okay, my body looks like Gumby before you put it in the water and then it expands to the size it is. You ever have those toys growing up when you put a little monkey, little animal in water and then it blows up and it smells like it's giving you cancer? Those things smelled so gross. And you're like, this shouldn't be in my house. I should get rid of this. And you're like, where do I even throw it away? Do I put this where they put batteries? Because it feels like it's just as toxic. But my friend came over and I cleaned everything up, and wow, that kind of cleared my mind too. What a concept. Wow, the third time I've said that. Things are very simple in this life. It's just that they're not easy. I know how to conduct myself. I know the things I have to do, but am I willing? Well, that's another question. One thing that happened this week, I got to be blessed. I got a new computer at work. Wow, Garb, you earn it? No, it's just because every 4 years, that's the program they run. They say that you're eligible for a new computer, and you're like, oh, that's great. You got to go through the catalog and pick. Yeah, there's like a lot of computers, maybe like 20 plus computers, but you can only pick basically between two because those are the free ones. They're like, oh yeah, if you want any of the other 18 to 20 computers that are obviously better than the free ones, your team has to front like $600. So go ahead. No, go ahead, bud. Talk to your manager. Tell your manager you need those extra gigs of RAM. Yeah, because you're doing so much on your computer. We see your clicks per minute. We see how much you use your keyboard. You're doing jack shit over there. Okay, easy. I'll take the free one. Don't have to be like that. Guys, we can be cool. We don't have to. All right. Weapons on the ground, man. Let's not do this. But I got a new computer at work, which is good. My last one's been on the fritz for like the past 2 years. I was not able to use it unless it was plugged in to the wall. It was insane. It was terrible. It looked like a PowerPoint presentation. I was just trying to look at my files. What was going on there? But I got a new computer, and let me tell you, it's good. It works faster. Unfortunately, I have what they're calling a first world problem, which is that I always, when I walk around the office, carry my laptop with one hand. However, this laptop, it's a little heavier, a little bigger, a little wider, so it's hard to carry with one hand. So I kind of have to like carry it with two. And if I carry it with one, it kind of like wears out my wrist. And I was thinking about that this week, and I was like, man, this really sucks. And then I was thinking about how in the morning, I saw a news article that was like hundreds or over 100 Iranian children were killed because of a missile. I was like, oh, so my my problems are not that big, aren't they? But I was like, that's so fucked up. Like, that's what's shitty about social media. We know too much. And if you keep thinking like this, right, where you're like, well, I can't feel bad because a bunch of people died in another place, we will just stop. We will halt as a society. Because if you look at the world events, there is unremitting despair. It's no end. It's just everywhere, and it's happening all the time, which is why you kind of have to trick your brain by looking at good stuff. That's why it's nice to listen to pop music. Because if you just think about how many kids are dying every day, then you will do nothing. Because how could you? And so I felt like a piece of shit holding this laptop, being like, oh, my wrist is getting a little tired. Kids are dying, Garv. It's like Kim Kardashian losing her earrings, right? Is that what it was in that episode? And then Courtney's like, children are dying, Kim, or people are dying everywhere. That's how I felt. But you can't think that way. But you do also have to think that way, right? To like be aware of what's going on in the world, to be informed. But you shouldn't. It's not healthy, but it's important. So what are you supposed to do? It's kind of like work, right? The work model, oh, so unhealthy. Like you're spending how much time commuting, being there, then commuting again? When's the time for you to be you? But it's important because you need a living so that you can also live. So what is the quality of life? What are we supposed to do? It just feels bad, right? If you were to go to like a Starbucks or whatever, some coffee place, and then you're like, oh, one latte. And they bring it out, and you're like, ooh, this is a little burnt. And you bring it to them, you're like, hey, this is burnt. They're like, yeah, well, kids are dying. And you're like, I don't know what to say to that now. Does that mean I get like less off the coffee? They're like, no, we're Starbucks. You think we're going to give you less because kids are dying? No, we're going to charge you more. I'm like, that's a good point. That's a really good point. I'm sorry about that. So yeah, it's an interesting state in the world, right? And I think we've lived like this for a little over a decade with the social media thing being so ubiquitous. It's like, what are you supposed to do? There's supposed to be like a healthy balance, and there isn't one. So how do you do this? How do you navigate the world, right? But it is kind of crazy that anytime there's like some mild inconvenience, my brain immediately goes to, oh, remember all those people you saw that died in a hurricane in bumfuck Iowa? And I'm like, wait, Iowa? Don't they got a zoo over there? Maybe that was like divine intervention being like, yeah, fuck those people for locking up a giraffe in Iowa. What are we talking about? Yeah, weirdly enough, the hurricane just took away all the zookeepers. And the zookeepers, we investigated them, they have years of abuse in their record. Oh my. Wow, look at that. And it's crazy. Yeah, the tornado, did I say hurricane? My bad. Yeah, the tornado, it actually picked up the giraffe and it placed him in a neighboring state in safety, and where he's able to roam free in beautiful Montana, very far away from Iowa. But I couldn't think of another state. You have to understand, don't you? But what are you supposed to do, right? How do I complain about my burnt coffee? How do I complain about my laptop when kids are dying? I guess I don't. And then I slowly get more angry with myself, and then people will just ask me a reasonable request at work, or someone will ask me, yeah, at a coffee shop, oh, do you want that iced or hot? And I'll be like, hey, how about you fuck yourself? How about that? I'm like, what are you talking about? I'm like, sorry, I don't know what I'm talking about. I don't know, man. And you know who I don't think knows what they're talking about? The inventors of espresso martinis. What is going on there? Espresso martini, a beautiful drink, an amazing drink, a great nightcap. But how does that make sense? Because alcohol and caffeine, last things you're supposed to drink before bed. Yet they put it in this drink that's meant to be drank before bed. So what the fuck is going on, espresso martini? What is your deal? What's your agenda? What the fuck are you trying to get at, bud? Huh? Oh, you're the disease and the cure? How does that work? No, I think there's something nefarious going on over there. Okay? But no, I was talking to my friend about this. I'm like, how does that make sense? Because, love an espresso martini. You drink one of those at 2 p.m.? What the fuck is going on? But one at 8, 9 p.m.? Wow, that feels just right. But then you're in bed pretty soon after, right? There's probably some article out there, right, where you visit the site and then it's like, oh, sorry, if you want to keep reading, you have to pay us $17 a month. And then we're going to keep enrolling you in our subscription, and there's going to be no way to cancel. If you want to read the rest of this article to just see how many milligrams of caffeine you're supposed to drink in a day, you read those articles, right? It's on like fucking People magazine, and you're like, aren't you a magazine? Why are you online? And it says something like, you know what celebrities like caffeine? I'm going to tell you all this shit before I tell you how much caffeine you're supposed to drink. And then you just end up doing a fucking search on Google, and then it's like an AI overview answer, powered by Gemini. And it's like, oh yeah, caffeine causes cancer. I'm like, what? But I don't know how much caffeine you're supposed to drink. But sometimes these websites, they always say like, don't do these 9 things, 9 toxic habits that are killing your bedtime routine, that are robbing you of your REMs. I'm like, okay, stop with the alliteration. Okay, I just need information, not alliteration. What is this? I thought of another Asian word and it wasn't a good one. So I can't say that, can I? What is this abomination? Huh? Across this great nation? Now I'm just trying to tune into a news station and I'm just looking for an explanation of what the fuck's going on. Why are they terrible? But yeah, I don't get espresso martinis because the place in which they're stationed in life later in a day, that's not where they're supposed to be. It makes no sense. It's like seeing someone that's like 7 foot become like a taxi driver. I'm like, you're not supposed to be there. That's like the last place you should be. You need to like stretch yourself out, man. You can't be cramped up in there. That's what an espresso martini feels like. It feels like it's cramped into your schedule. But it's in the perfect place of your schedule because that's when you would drink one. What are you doing drinking a caffeine alcohol combination anytime before 8 p.m., huh? But then what are you doing drinking it after 8 p.m.? So you got to drink it right at 8 p.m. and then plan to go to sleep at 2 a.m. Okay? That's the only time you can drink one. Or else it doesn't make any fucking sense, right? I don't know. One thing I was talking to my friend about when we got lunch and hung out was that he went to Tulum recently. He and his wife went on a trip to Tulum and he was telling me about it. And he was like, yeah, we saw the Mayan ruins. And I was like, what did they call the Mayan ruins before they were the ruins? Because they didn't start ruined, right? It's not like these, what are those shoes called? Golden Goose? Yeah, those Golden Goose or Mason Margiela shoes that are like pre-beat. Oh, Garv, it's not pronounced Mason. Your tax bracket is showing. How about you tuck it in, bud? I don't need your pointers, okay? Unless it's about the stock market, okay? What should I invest in? If you're spending $800 on shoes, shut the fuck up. You know children are dying? And you're buying pre-beat shoes. I hope you feel like a piece of shit. I hope they burn your coffee. And then you can't complain about it because you already did the thing about the shoes. So if you complain about the coffee too, well, now you're an asshole. What's that? You know you're an asshole and you lean into it and it's actually quite endearing? Damn it. I didn't realize you could do that. My bad. But we're talking about the Mayan ruins. And I was like, what do you think they were called before the Mayan ruins? And he was like, well, I think it was a temple. Well, it still is a temple. It's just like a ruined temple. I'm like, right. I'm like, so what was it called back? Like, they never dead name a temple. But like, this is one of those cases where dead naming would be okay because you're talking about it in its glory days. Whenever they call something the ruins, it's kind of like when they show a picture of someone and they're old. Like Larry David, his signature look is when he's old. So anytime we talk about Larry David, they always show old Larry David, which is also current Larry David. But then there are some people where they only show like young pictures of them. And it's not just when they like tragically die young. It's when they're also like fully living. But then anytime we refer to them or we reference them, they always show like a young picture. I can't think of a good example right now. But it feels like the same way with the ruins. It's like, why do we keep referring to them as like their old self? They had a body of work before that. That's when they were enjoyed, in fact. It feels kind of insulting, right? It's kind of like when a player like LeBron right now, he's 41 years old, and people are like, see, he's not the greatest because he turned the ball over. Motherfucker should have been retired 5 years ago. What do you mean you're critiquing his basketball game? He's still one of the top like fucking 40 players in the league actively at 41 years old. Why are we critiquing him? But that's how it feels when we say Mayan ruins. It feels like saying year 23 LeBron James. Well, there was 22 years before that. We're going to talk about that. Why is this what his legacy is? Well, it's part of it. I'm like, yeah, but it's the end of it. The reason we look at him through a microscope is because he had so much greatness before. If he was just a shitty basketball player and then he just played for 23 years, we'd be like, hey, man, hang it up. But he was a great basketball player. He still is, and he's playing in year 23, and people are actually still saying, hey, man, you should hang it up. So really, there's no pleasing anyone, right? I guess we should always call them the Mayan ruins, because that's what they are to us. So that's what they are for everyone, forever. But no, it'd be funny. I started thinking about it. What if there was a guy back then referring to them as the Mayan ruins? He had some prescient ability. And then they were like, yo, what are you doing tonight? Yeah, I'm kind of free, but thinking about heading over to the Mayan ruins. What'd you call it? What'd you call the temple? Oh, the Mayan ruins. What the fuck is that? Why are you calling them that, man? Do you know something we don't? Wait, you worked on the construction, right? Didn't you install the steel beams beneath the temple? Wait, what do you know that we don't? Do you know that they're going to get ruined? What's going on here, man? Why do you keep talking like that? But it is interesting to think, yeah, if they're the Mayan ruins today, they had a life, right? Why don't we talk about that? Like, don't you think about it? Your grandparents had a life before your little shit ass. Sorry, I don't know why I attacked you. It's just like when they were a grandparent and when they had lived, their life, you were like pooping in diapers. Yet you go to them and you're like, Mima, peepaw, do my TikTok trend. And it's like, don't disrespect your Italian ruins, okay? Should we refer to grandparents as ruins? Like whatever ethnicity you are or whatever? Like, what are Indian grandparents supposed to say they're Indian ruins? Like, why ruins, right? Why not artifacts? Okay. And that's also something you got to consider. Like, the Leaning Tower of Pisa, that's just the Leaning Tower of Pisa. But like, because it's not ruined yet. Like once it fully topples over, then we'll be like, there's the Italian ruins. Mamma mia, right? Like we refer to it as its thing now, but in the future it will be the ruins. So just think about that. Every time you go to a historical landmark monument, it will be gone. Everyone you know and love will be dead one day. Think about that. I can really work myself up to a tizzy. Don't know what that means. But I remember I was driving to Dunkin' Donuts last week. Remember it like it was last week. But I was driving myself to Dunkin' Donuts last week, and I can do this, and I hate that I sometimes do it. I can give myself an existential crisis on command. And I don't know why, but I decided to go down that route on my way to the Dunkin' Donuts, and it freaked me the fuck out. I started sweating everywhere. You get a sweat mustache. And I was like, why did I do that? And I think I'm very confident I could talk to anyone and give them an existential crisis. There are like a few questions I could ask them and things I could tell them to think about, and I think I would scare me and scare them. I'm not going to do that though, because I'm a well-adjusted member of society that has a podcast. So I guess that negates what I just said, because no one that's well-regulated and is a functioning member of society should have a podcast. It's funny when you hang out with friends and you like openly shit on podcasts, and then just to make them clear that I'm like self-aware about myself, I'm like, yeah, I even have a fucking podcast. I don't deserve one. This friend I was talking to the Mayan ruins about, he was like, yeah, dude, everyone has a fucking podcast. And I was quick. I didn't even let him finish the sentence. I was like, I know, I fucking have one. I'm like, that shouldn't be allowed. You know what I start roasting myself. You know what the fucking title of my last episode was? Can you believe that shit? Timothy Chalamet, McDonald's CEO. You know there's kids dying in the world. I'm talking about that bullshit. But it's funny, Timothy Chalamet's whole, conversation about the opera and ballet. Well, it's more of a statement, not a conversation, right? But it's made us even talk about opera and ballet. It's raised awareness. And that's kind of the cope I'm going to use anytime I am like hating on something and everyone's like, hey, come on, don't be so negative, okay? I'll be like, well, someone's got to talk about it, If I don't shit on them, who's going to talk about them? They're like, well, you can talk about it in a nice way. I'm like, no, I can't. You know I can't. Come on, let's be honest with each other. But speaking of talking about things in a nice way and shitting on things, that segue doesn't even make fucking sense. Let me give you an update about my ankle. Yeah, I got an MRI last week. The results came back. Well, what'd you find, Gauruv? I'm only saying this at the end of the episode because this is where people that actually, I guess, give a shit about me personally would stop to listen. So this is what they found. Basically nothing. But there were two joints. It is the tibiotalar and subtalar joints. There are like effusions in them, which basically in layman's terms means that there are two joints in my ankle that have a slight fluid buildup. Now, the doctor has said we can do steroid injections in those spots. Might work, might not. Or, I don't know. We can see a podiatrist or whatever. So I'm still weighing my options. Might see an orthopedic surgeon, might see a podiatrist, might do the steroid injections. Who fucking knows? But it could either be a nothing burger, this MRI, or it's the answer to my problems. I don't know. The fluid buildup is a product of inflammation. Why did my ankle get inflamed? I don't fucking know. So really, I have no answers. So if you were curious, how'd that end up, Gauruv? Well, inconclusive at best. But there's steps going forward, except for me, because I can't step going forward. And that's been the whole problem, hasn't it, folks? But it's okay, because people are dying in the world. That's not what I mean. You know what I mean. My problems aren't that big, because there are worse problems elsewhere. I have to say, when you do talk to people, and you're complaining about your thing, that's the last motherfucking thing I want to hear. Yeah, man, it's just been really hard. And they're like, well, hey, just remember, there's someone out there that has it worse. Why do I care? That's not me. I'm the one that's in pain. I don't give a fuck about anyone. I get the sentiment, I get the argument, I get the logic, but in the moment when you're complaining about something, that's not what you want to hear. Makes sense, right? They're right. 100% they're right. But they're not right for saying it in that moment. Anywho, I think the right thing to say in the moment is some song recs. I think that would be great for us at this moment in the episode. I said song recs. I'm a filthy liar. I have one song rec. When you put an S at the end of a noun, it goes from singular to plural. And so I led you on to believe I was going to say a couple to a few song recs, but now I'm coming in here with a singular. The singular song rec is New York Baby by Jesse Reyes. Give it a listen if you haven't. It came out, I think, last year, and I've been listening to it recently. I was looking at the lyrics of the song, because I don't hear lyrics. When I hear music, I just hear music, and the voice is part of the music. I don't know if that's because of just the way I am, or because my hearing is bad, but when I listen to songs, I have no idea what they're saying. I just tier. Yeah, the lyrics are like another instrument to me. I have no idea. Yeah, but I did read the lyrics of the song. I think it's about. No, I'm not gonna say what it's about. You can read the lyrics. I think 2 seconds into reading your lyrics, you're like, oh, this is about. Oh, okay, nice. Anywho, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Support's been great on the past episodes, so please, 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 Judge Miss Carpenter, keep it up. And there are 13 followers on Spotify, but only 7 5-star ratings. So all you followers that are following along, make sure you give that 5-star rating. It's a simple 2-button click, and only a 1-button click is pressing the like button on YouTube. So make sure you're getting your clicks in, folks. And I will talk to you next week. Okay?